Hey, it's Ron McLean. Welcome to Hockey Talk on the Rock.
With Laura and Keith.
It's interesting.
So let's back up a second.
He played absolutely out of his mind.
It made no sense to me.
And now, here are your hosts.
All right, we are back. Hockey Talk on the Rock. And look at us.
We're in person.
We're in the same country. This is a big deal. So this is episode 109, and it's February 1st, which marks the beginning of a new month and the beginning of a new era, because as most Canucks fans know by now, there was 2 trades last night. You can look at it as like a 3-way trade, but the festering, as described by the Canucks general manager, is over. And JT Miller is back to his original New York Rangers team, and the Canucks basically acquired Philip Hedl and Marcus Pettersson. A couple other small pieces, and a couple other small pieces went out the door, but that more or less sums it up.
More or less. I mean, again, it seems to be kind of the ammo of this management group, that when they get an asset, they flip it for something that the Canucks can use. And I mean, Marcus Pettersson, it sounds like he's going to sign with the Canucks, and I mean, I hope that it's a good deal for them. For sure, as I was saying to you earlier this morning, if you look at their defense now, their top 4 to me looks a lot better. Especially like if Myers continues to play like he has the last few games. I think they have a solid top 4, and then that third pair is the third pair, whereas for really this whole year, they've had Quinn Hughes and basically no one else. So hopefully that helps. Obviously losing Miller on the ice is a big deal in terms of the scoring and all of that, what he brings to the team. They're going to miss that. I wonder what the Canucks are going to do now, because as we all know, there's still Besser, who's unsigned for next year. Do they sign him? Do they move him? I mean, if you move him now, I think you have to be looking at, and they've already kind of said that this year is probably going to be a wash, even if they haven't outwardly said it. But if you move him, are you moving him for a piece that's going to come fill in your lineup? Or do they now think about re-signing him now that the cap is going up? Regardless of what they do with Besser, they have a hole now at the second line center. They have to do something. Do they wait and do it in the offseason? Do they try to do something now? So still an interesting time as a Canucks fan, and definitely the beginning of a new era.
And I mean, like you spoke to, the management group has a history of flipping assets, so you kind of wonder, like, if they are going to trade Besser, do they trade him and then flip the assets for a second line center right away?
Yep.
Probably, right?
I would think so. But then you have a hole on your wings.
Yeah, and I mean, internally, if this year's a wash, they're probably banking on a Lakari Mackey
coming in and making it.
And they've been talking about that for years now.
Yep.
So I could see it. I mean, I'm torn. I don't love it. Like, I liked JT Miller, the player.
Sure.
He's a great player, 100-point player, playoff performer. But the drama that had gone on for, like, what's it been, 6 weeks, that everyone knew there was a problem. It was just getting old.
It was way too much. I mean, for me, the story with Miller, like, again, on the ice, he was great, but going back 2 years or 3 years now, every year it became like, are we going to trade Miller? No. Are we going to trade Miller? No. And then when this drama broke, I thought to myself, I can't do this again. It's too much. They just have to do it. And I know a lot of people are underwhelmed with the return that they got, but as Rutherford said earlier this week, I don't think there was a deal out there that we would have been happy with. If we'd wanted to get a good return with JT, you would have had to trade him before they re-signed him. Basically, it would have had to have been that year at the deadline or the year before with 2 years. And then you would have gotten a good return for him, but it wasn't going to be that. I mean, he's also he is 32. He plays a very hard style game, which is great, but who knows how long he's going to hold up for. That being said, there is a movement now in the league where it seems like careers are kind of being prolonged. So maybe he'll be okay, but I just think the style of hockey he plays doesn't really lend itself to being the type of person that's going to age super well. So it had to happen. It's happened. Let's see what this group looks like moving forward. I'm open to Filip Chytil. I know, again, he has concussion problems. He's young. Maybe if given a bit of a bigger opportunity here, he'll produce. Obviously, again, the big concern is the head injuries. And I don't know how realistic a possibility it is that he's going to live up to his first-round draft pick potential, right?
Yeah. No, it'd be nice if they became a good, solid team again and he became a really strong 3C. It'd be great. I think he's slated in for tomorrow night's game on the second line with Garland and Joshua, which those two gel well with other guys. Doesn't matter if it's Bluger or Lindholm. So we'll see. Time will tell.
And then, I mean, the other part of the second deal, if we really quickly, then we can talk again more about the whole picture. But, I mean, the Canucks moved out Heinen and Desharnais, who both weren't really gelling with the team. Both had a year after this year on their deal. So I think that's also part of the reason why the Canucks gave up that first-round pick. And I'm open to seeing the Victor Mancini see what he does in that bottom D pairing role. I mean, I don't think he's going to play all the time, but above maybe a Juleson, I think he could fill in a few games here or there. It's a different look. They also got back Drew O'Connor, who I honestly don't know that much about, but he scored 16 goals, he said, last year. So there's pieces at the bottom of the lineup that look like it could be okay. And, I mean, if you have performances like in the last month or two, the Canucks haven't really had any scoring from anyone. Like, you can look beyond, Hughes, really. Maybe we get some more goals from Suter now again. Maybe we get more spread out scoring. So I'm happy it's over. Let's see what happens, kind of thing.
And at the end of the day, their defense is looking solid now. Their goaltending with Lankin and Demko, if they're both at what they can do, is great. And then you look at their bottom six, it's solid, and their top six is kind of lacking a 2C. So when it comes down to it, they're really only lacking one piece.
Position, yeah.
So you never know. We'll see.
And I mean, I still have hopes. I still have hopes that they make it into the playoffs. I don't think Calgary is an overly strong team. However, as Keith said, now they're buying. They did their own deal this week, and they seem to have gotten stronger. Let's see, they're young. So anything is possible down the stretch here. I know LA is not that far away from Vancouver. That surprised me. I didn't realize how close we were to LA in the standings. Colorado is not that crazy ahead.
LA's, I think, won only 2 of their last 10. They're going through a bit of a slump, so that helps Vancouver's favor. I heard a couple people talking about how they saw Calgary and Vancouver making the playoffs and LA falling out.
Yeah. So let's see what happens. We can only hope for the best. They play Detroit tomorrow. Detroit will be coming off of playing Calgary today. That's a good sign. I guess tomorrow probably we'll see Chytil anyway in the lineup for the Canucks.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It's an interesting time because it's kind of like mini deadline before the deadline. Like we saw Rantanen traded last Friday. We saw this morning Granlund and CC go from San Jose to Dallas. Yeah. So the buyers are buying, and it's really ramping up before this Four Nation break next week, right?
Yeah. So yeah, we're looking down the stretch now, down the stretch and into the future.
Yeah, and I mean, you don't want to see Pettersson all of a sudden become like a 120-point player with Miller gone, because that's like a detriment to his character a little bit. Yeah. But you also want to see him play more freely, and maybe he wasn't giving it his all because he was so unhappy with the bully in the room or whatever the situation was. But last night I missed the third. We left when it was 2-1. Yep. And I looked at his stats today, and like the advanced stats were all really good for him. The game before, I thought him and Höglander and Karlsson played quite well. Yeah, they looked good. And he kind of seems like he has a little more confidence and patience with the puck, making some nicer plays in the offense. So That's what they really need for the rest of the year is just Petey to get his groove back and and build around him and Hughes moving forward. And hopefully this is just a little retool and not so much
a rebuild.
Yeah, the sky is falling kind of thing.
Yeah, and I mean, I listened to his interview after the game last night, and they asked him about the Miller stuff, and basically someone asked him, like, you realize now there's going to be more pressure on you, and he was like, yeah, I want the pressure, and I thought that was a really good answer, because maybe it is true that he felt a bit redundant. I don't know what to say with Miller, and he wants to be that guy, and if he's saying that's a good sign, now he needs to play like it. Mm-hmm. So let's hope that he can get back to where he was. We'll see what he does down the stretch, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And from New York, it makes sense because they're an older team and they're clearly in a win now mode. So I don't think they mind that they're going to have 3 more years of Miller after this run, assuming that this is a run.
Yeah. I mean, right now they're not in a playoff spot. But for sure, in the last few weeks, they've played better. It will be a boost to their room to get in a player like Miller. It makes sense. They also have Shesterkin, who is the wild card in all of this. I know a lot of teams are saying, or people are saying, you know, whoever finishes like first in either of the divisions in the East, if they have to play the Rangers in the first round, it's going to be a tough battle when you're playing Shesterkin in the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
And they are a better team than what they played like for the first half of the year, so I could see them making a splash, making into the playoffs and winning a couple rounds. Mm-hmm.
So one question for you that's not Canucks related, because I know we're Canucks, but
yes.
Carolina made their big move.
Yes.
New York has made a big move.
Yes.
The thing with Carolina is they haven't made it all the way to the final in the last few years because, you know, from their perspective, they always get goalie. They run into a Vasilevsky, they run into a Shesterkin, they run into a whomever, one of the top goalies every year. And right now they're doing that tandem of Anderson, Kochetkov. Do you think you can see them getting a goalie before the playoffs?
I mean, that's an interesting one. I know there was all sorts of talk with the Canucks if they would move Demko to Carolina.
Right.
I think they have to look at it. I don't know what other goalies are out there right now for them to go after, but I think they have to look at it.
The only one I've heard, and it's died down a lot recently, was John Gibson.
Yeah. I mean, again, I don't know what Gibson is.
I know. He hasn't been on a good team for so long, it's hard to say.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I can see them going out and getting a goalie. I mean, yeah, they've made their big move now. They got Rantanen, and for sure he was the best player available. I liked the deal for them a lot. I didn't think they had to give up that much. I mean, obviously Marty Necas has been having a really good year, but I don't know if that's what he actually is. Mm-hmm.
I kind of like the move for Colorado.
For Colorado, I like it, and I also don't like it in the sense that, I mean, I don't care because I'm not a fan of the team, but listening to both Bednar and McKinnon talk about it afterwards, they just seemed super gutted. Mm-hmm. And it felt like maybe you've thrown off a bit of the mojo with this group. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, yeah, it's smart to get in front of it. I just don't know if I love the return for them. But anyway, we'll see.
It depends what Necas becomes playing with McKinnon, and maybe that does it for them. But, I don't know. I had a friend in the other pool asking me all year, like, Rantanen's going to ask for 14 or 15 million. Do you think Colorado trades him? And I kept saying no. McKinnon and Rantanen are a duo. I can't see them doing that, and here we are. So, but, I mean, Colorado has, since they won the Cup, I wouldn't say mismanaged the cap, but they've been constrained as a result of winning the Cup, basically. Yeah,
I mean, also they've had a lot of injury problems. Mm-hmm. Like, the two combined has been a problem for them. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
So this gives them some guaranteed flexibility next year, and then they'll have a better idea of what they have in Necas, you know?
For sure. Follow-up question, though. With the cap going up so much next year, do you think now Colorado kind of regrets it?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't know. I just get the feeling that Rantanen was, like, the bar has been going up and up and up and up.
Sure.
And, like, you know, McDavid and McKinnon and Matthews and then Draisaitl, and it's been going up, and it felt like he was determined to
get it,
raise the bar for the wingers, I guess.
I don't know. I feel like he would have agreed to come just under McKinnon if he'd stayed in Colorado. It's just a gut feeling. I don't know. But anyway, I mean, he's going to get his money now. I think that's for certain. And someone's going to give him some crazy contract. Mm-hmm. He's a good player, but I don't know. I don't know if I would give him...
There was another thing that I saw a couple weeks before the trade too that talked about how many empty net goals he had. Yeah. I don't know if it was focused on this year or this
just
year
in general, I
and
think.
last year combined,
yeah.
But it was like an eye-popping amount of empty net goals. It's like, okay, maybe like I think Colorado is one of those analytically inclined teams, and maybe they were kind of looking at that and going, well, if you strip away all those empty net goals, and if he's not playing with McKinnon, like what do we really have? I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. Time will tell.
Time will tell, for sure.
So Canucks play tomorrow, Detroit?
Yes.
We'll see. They got a few games before the Four Nations. I'm looking forward to the Four Nations. Especially through those dark weeks recently with the Canucks, I was really focused on these Four Nations games. I think they'll be fun. It's not Olympic hockey, but it's a taste.
Yeah, I'm very opposite. I really don't care about the Four Nations, but it's okay. It's hockey. It will be what it will be. And we'll get to see a bit of this. I just wish, and part of it, I wish we had a Russian team. I wish it was more real. I don't know what to say. It's the same thing as when they did the World Cup a couple years ago. To me, it didn't do anything for me. Like, with the fake half teams, North America and Europe, I didn't like it. I don't know. I'm probably anti-fun, but... This one's okay.
You can't be anti-fun. You're the better half of Hockey Talk on the Rock.
According to Rev Trev.
Yeah, shout out Kempner Canucks.
Yeah. Anyways, it will be hockey. We'll see what happens. I think it's a good test run to see specifically in goal what the Canadians have. Although it would have probably in hindsight been better to bring Logan Thompson. But, it is what it is.
It's tough when the deadline for the roster is so far out,
Yeah. They still haven't announced the replacement for Petterssons yet.
No. So, and question that I was going to ask you, not on this, but since we're here, I missed the third period last night, but on the radio just now, they were saying that Hughes got hurt.
Yeah, he left and he came back.
Did he come back? Because on the radio, they said that he's hurt in the sense that like he's not going to be playing Four Nations.
I don't think he's going to play Four Nations either. That's my feeling. We've all known that he's hurt for a while. He has the splint on his hand or whatever. And I think that last night probably aggravated it more. I wouldn't be surprised if he withdraws. I wouldn't be surprised if in the next few games he doesn't play for the Canucks. Just to give him a bit of a break. But it seems like they don't really care, for Four Nations, because Pietrangelo said he's not going and he's still playing for Vegas right now. Mm-hmm. Which, the NHL is going to love. Or Hockey Canada and Hockey USA and all that stuff.
No.
But anyway, we'll see what happens. I have a feeling he doesn't go. However, he would get the opportunity to play with his brother, so maybe he pushes through.
Mm-hmm. We'll see. Time will tell.
Yeah.
All right. Well, is that it for now?
I think so.
For us, episode mini, I guess.
Yes.
And for anyone watching, thank you for watching and listening. And this has been Hockey Talk on the Rock, episode 109.
Woo!